The knock at the door was sharp, official. When I opened it, two officers stood there. Their eyes carried something heavier than duty. "Your niece," one said, steady but hesitant, "has been found in a severely malnourished state." I blinked, my blood iced. "My niece passed away 5 years ago," I replied. The officer's face changed. Confusion, shock. His mouth opened, then closed again. Finally, "What?" For a moment, the silence between us was a canyon. My heart didn't race. It slowed, every beat deliberate, controlled. "5 years ago, I buried her," I replied. The officer's face changed. Confusion, shock. His mouth opened, then closed again. Finally, "What?" For a moment, the silence between us was a canyon. My heart didn't race. It slowed, every beat deliberate, controlled. 5 years ago, I buried her. At least, that's what I believed. A small coffin, a sealed box lowered into the earth. My brother and his wife weeping, me standing rigid, refusing to let grief bend me. But now the police were telling me she was alive, starving, hidden. And in that single moment, I understood something vile had been done. That night replayed in my head. The funeral, the photographs, the hollow speeches. I remember the way her mother clung to me, sobbing as though she were broken. I remember the smell of roses covering the stench of earth. But now, those memories twisted. Each tear, each gesture, performed. A show. The first crack appeared. What if the coffin had been empty? What if the illness I was told had killed her was nothing more than fabrication? The betrayal wasn't simply death, it was theater, a deception carried for years. I sat in the dark house, the officer's words echoing like a curse. My niece, malnourished, alive. And all I could think was, where have they kept her, and why? I began quietly. Phone records, bank statements, addresses. My brother's life looked clean on the surface, but buried in the margins, rent payments to a property never mentioned. A cabin outside the city, remote, forgotten. I drove there under cover of night. The place smelled of mildew and neglect. In the corner, children's clothes, too small, worn through. A chair bolted to the floor. Restraints. I felt nothing at first. Not rage, not sorrow. Just silence pressing against my skull. Back home, I kept up the mask. Dinners with my brother. Polite nods to his wife. Their laughter, their carefully rehearsed normalcy. I said nothing. I let them believe I was blind. But every night, I pieced the truth together. Records, surveillance, witnesses. Slowly the picture formed. They hadn't lost her. They had hidden her. To rid themselves of her. To free themselves from the weight of a sick child. The cruelty was not impulsive. It was strategy. And now, mine would be too. The police confirmed it days later. DNA, undeniable. She was my niece. Broken, fragile, but alive. I sat across from her parents in silence as the officers delivered the news. My brother's face drained of color. His wife collapsed into sobs that reeked of performance. The officers left. The house grew still. I placed a file on the table. Copies of the cabin lease, bank transfers, medical records doctored with lies. My brother stared at it, his lips moving without sound. "You buried her alive," I said. The words dropped into the room like stones. His wife shook her head violently. "We didn't. We couldn't." I leaned back, composed, my voice cold. "You convinced the world she was dead, and all the while you starved her." They broke then, not out of remorse, out of fear. I didn't shout, I didn't strike, I didn't need to. I slid a final envelope across the table. Inside, copies of everything I had already handed to the authorities. Their crimes signed and sealed. I made sure, I said, voice even, that even if I disappear tomorrow, your truth won't. They looked at me, hollow-eyed, my brother trembling, his wife sobbing into her hands. This is how you end, I continued, not with freedom, not with pity, with exposure. They realized then that their years of secrecy had been dismantled in a matter of days, that every mask they had worn had been stripped away, and I, calm, unshaken, was the one holding the blade. When they were taken away, I did not follow. I sat alone, staring into the quiet, my thoughts sharp and unclouded. 5 years I mourned a ghost. 5 years I carried guilt that wasn't mine. Now I carried only clarity. My niece would live, perhaps scarred, perhaps never whole, but alive. As for them, there would be no redemption, only ruin. I felt no triumph, no sorrow, just finality. Because some betrayals are so profound, they erase the possibility of forgiveness. And I had already buried them once. This time, the burial was real. Only they were the ones lowered into the dark.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Subscribe now to Cheating Stories Insight World for more amazing stories.